You'll go nuts.
Okay.
The broadcast is live. We're live.
Oh, we're live.
Okay, we are live, guys. Welcome, Blind Man Walking. John, you guys know who I am. Neeson, Louie, and Rufus are around somewhere. Welcome to a very special video today, a live video with two amazing people all the way from not so sunny Florida, Martha and Tony Pike. Hi, guys.
Hi.
Welcome. Martha and Tony are integral to me and my third guide dog, Neeson, because they raised him from a little itty bitty yellow ball of love to what he is now. A big ball of love. Um, I graduated from GDB, Guide Dogs for the Blind, in California with Neeson in 2018. And I actually met Tony and Martha, and we've stayed in touch over the years. I think it's great if guide dog owners and puppy raisers can stay in touch, because when the dogs graduate, often the raisers who do a lot of the work in preparing these dogs, they don't get to see what happens to the dogs after they graduate. So I'm really blessed and grateful to be able to stay in touch with you guys. Just to keep you guys abreast of what Neeson's up to and what we're doing and how Neeson's doing such a great job at guiding. So yeah, just welcome and thanks for agreeing to come on and do a live chat about puppy raising.
You're welcome.
So I just have a series of questions that I'm just going to ask you guys. Very informal, no pressure. Yeah, so just and the goal is to just provide information about puppy raising in general for maybe somebody who wants to maybe try to get into puppy raising, or maybe just for someone who is blind, who doesn't have a guide dog, who is thinking about maybe trying to decide if a guide dog is right for them. Just the puppy raisers play a very integral part in the whole process, and without you guys, without the volunteer hours that you guys put in and the blood, sweat, and tears, blind people wouldn't have access to guide dogs. That's how essential puppy raisers are. So thank you times 1,000. All right, first question. Where did you guys first hear about puppy raising?
Oh.
Anybody can take that.
Go ahead.
Well, we've heard about it over the years. I've seen people raising puppies. I never stopped and talked to one, but I've seen them around, and I don't know how to say where I first heard about it. It was many, many years ago.
And I used to work with a woman in my hospital who was in the accounting department who raised, I don't know, probably 8 or 9 before I even knew about it. And when we lost a dog that was very, very dear to us, we were looking for a dog to take to work. And we looked into CCI dogs, and that one didn't quite work out. So this friend of mine at work, she said, "What are you doing? You should be raising guide dogs." So he persuaded us to get screened and look into it. And the hospital I worked at was very behind. We had 3 or 4 being raised at the hospital at the same time, one in recovery room, surgical recovery room, one in the accounting department, and I was in home care in an office building. So they were all for it. The hospital supported us 100%. So we must have raised close to 15 puppies at that hospital before I retired. And probably 6 of them became guides. So that was a fun place to work because we had so much support. And so that's where we started raising.
So you mentioned the screening process. How rigorous is that process?
Well, you want to talk about that?
Well, it really wasn't all that rigorous, or at least I didn't feel like it was. They just have to check out your house, make sure you have the yard fenced down, and you don't have anything that would be a danger to a puppy. We already had dogs, so we were pretty much prepared for it. Maybe not as much as guide dogs would want, but I guess we changed anything that needed to be. I patched a few holes in the fence that the dog next door had made. But I didn't feel like we had to be perfect or experts with dogs to become a puppy raiser. They'll teach you everything they want you to know.
Yeah, they gave us a big binder once they approved us, a big fat binder. We had to read the whole thing front to back. And it had everything in it about puppies, how to feed them, how to get toys for them, when to take them out to potty, what to say. I mean, it's amazing how they have it all figured out.
Yeah, I totally agree. I get a big binder. So everyone who graduates with a dog, they get a big binder. It's maybe not quite the same as yours, but it contains everything that the dog, it's the history, the do's and don'ts, the all kinds of fun stuff.
Yeah.
Anyone who graduates from GDB gets a big binder. So I just thought of that when you mentioned that. So why did you guys decide to actually foster?
Well, mostly I think we wanted to take a dog to work, and it was our only way to give back. You know, we don't do a lot of volunteering, but it was something we could do together, and also something we could do to help. And it's just too much fun, John. It's just, we get to go to meetings and there's like 5 or 6 puppies, and you get to handle them and play with them. And then you get to watch them learn. And these dogs were so smart. And labs are just so much fun to watch learn. And they love to be kissed and held and cuddled. And guide dogs is based on love and reward. And so it's the best way to raise a dog. And we just kept raising and raising and raising, and every dog you get, you love more. It's just wonderful.
So speaking of raising and raising and raising, how many dogs have you guys raised for GDB?
Well, we raised 9.
Wow.
But when you're raising, you're also taking care of other puppies.
Yeah.
And anytime a raiser has to go someplace, on a vacation or something, if they can't take the dog with them, then somebody has to take care of it. So we've had, I don't know how many dogs went through our house, from time to time. And of course, when you take care of a dog for some time, then you take it to work with you. It's with you all the time, and you take it shopping. Every place you go, you take the dog along.
Yeah, many times one time we had like 5 dogs in the house. One had been given away. She was done. And I don't know, we never said no to fostering puppies, because it was hard sometimes to find somebody, but we got so we loved it so much that when somebody needed a puppy sitter, come on down. So we would fill our house with puppies. And these puppies, when you said to them, do your business, all 5 of them would go out and do their business all at once. It was like a little army troop. So they were easy. They were easy, like your dogs. They were so well behaved that it didn't seem like it was such a big deal. But usually we only had our pet plus a couple of other puppies. But one time we had how old was the one we puppy sat during graduation? The little white puppy that we just held all day. She was like 8 weeks, maybe 8 weeks.
Yeah, which one? I don't remember her name.
It was Anita's dog. But she had just picked her up, and she had to go to graduation, and they weren't allowed back on campus until they got through all their shots. So she had just picked the puppy up, and so she needed a puppy sitter. And oh darn, we just had to do it. Well, we just had that puppy all day long, and she was so cute and so much fun. So it was. I'm telling you, it was just so much fun. We miss it now because we're going to get involved with a group here, but it's not quite the same. It's not guide dogs. It's freedom service dogs. But Yeah, I don't know. What can I say? You know how much you love your dogs? Well, multiply that times, 3, and always meeting new puppies, and oh my gosh, it was so great.
So the blind advocate asks, out of 100 dogs, how many make the cut? So how many would graduate if you had to guess? I know the number is not that high.
Right.
Probably 35 or 40.
Okay.
But they also count, we raised out of the 9, 1 guide, Neeson, and 2 breeders, which is that's a real high percentage for breeders. Most people don't even ever raise a breeder. And one of our breeders is still making puppies. He's made
Celtic?
200, yes.
Celtic. Yes.
And,
Good old Celtic. What a
And
life, eh?
He's 7. He's 7 years. Is he 7? He's almost 7.
I'd have to look at my phone.
He's
I
older
can't
than
recall.
Neeson anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we had a couple that were definitely not guide dog material, but great pet material. And then we have another that's working with conservation, Dogs for Conservation. So they do a lot of different things. Oh, and one that's a buddy.
Okay.
So, you never know with a dog what they're going to end up doing.
So this question was not on my list. However, it just came to my head a minute ago. Have you ever had a dog where you're like, no, this one's not going to make the cut. Like this one's just too goofy or too, I don't know. Like, have you ever had a dog where you just knew it wasn't going to
Yeah.
become a service dog?
Our first dog, and it's too bad it was our first dog because we didn't realize that dog didn't have any chance of becoming a guide dog. It had a lot of just built-in fears. We found out later that its mother had the same problem. I don't know why they used it as that dog as a breeder. The people who kept her had a hard time getting her into the car just to take her in to be bred. And so this dog, you'd be walking along and suddenly something, you never knew what it would be, something would frighten her and she would just go nuts.
Okay.
Well, of course, that would be hard on a blind person. So
Yes.
it was hard enough on me. So no, that dog never had a chance. And then the one we have here, Neeson,
No,
he's
General.
General. I'm sorry.
They look alike.
Yeah, General. He's a wonderful dog, but he barks. Somebody walks down the street and he barks at him, and you just can't have that. But I guess we're kind of happy we've got him. He's a great dog, except for his barking. Well, he's kind of excitable too, but. We all tried, the whole club, we tried very hard to work that out of him. And you just, it is like trying to train him not to wag his tail.
Yeah.
It's just part of him. That's all there was to it.
We had one little puppy that was the goofiest puppy and was the bravest puppy. He wasn't afraid of anything. In fact, he was climbing up our deck stairs at 9 weeks, carrying a big old bone in his mouth. 9 weeks. The bone was heavier than he was.
Yeah.
And he jumped in our pool when we didn't even, he just jumped in the pool when he was a little tiny puppy. And but he had too much. I used to tell the CFR, and you know what a CFR is, a community field rep. I used to tell her that he was a puppy that needed a little boy in a field. And so he now lives with a family that has a little girl in a field and a horse. And he is the happiest dog around. And he was one of our grand puppies. So, each dog is different. Each dog has their own. We didn't think Neeson was going to be a guide for a while either. We thought Neeson was way too high energy. And he had some he pulled us around for a long time, but Neeson grew up and finally found his level, and he's amazing now. So
Yes, he is. Yes, he
when
is.
we took him in the car, when we first had him, for
Oh,
the
that's
first month or
right.
so,
Oh, that's
he
right.
would just tremble and scream and howl.
Neeson? Oh, goodness.
Yes.
Oh, it was awful. He would refuse even to take kibble. He was so busy telling us how much he hated being in the car, and it slowly worked its way out. He got over that. We had a hard time at first getting him to get into the car. He just didn't want to get in, and then finally one day he jumped in, and that was the end of that.
Yeah.
But yeah, at first we didn't know how he was ever going to make it.
Yeah. That's a deal breaker for guide dogs. They told us that.
Yes.
Yeah.
If you can't get him over that, he can't even become anything. And we're like, oh no.
Yes.
Yeah. No.
Can you explain a little bit about the whole puppy raising process? Like what do you guys do with the dogs when you get them until they are returned?
Well,
Go ahead.
okay. Well, we get them at 8 weeks usually, sometimes 9 or 10, depending on if there's illness or if you're taking a puppy that somebody else was going to take and there's a change in plans, that can happen. But usually between 8 and 10 weeks. We're responsible, first of all, to get them to a vet for all their shots on time. We get a schedule. That's one of the first things. We can't take them on any surfaces except concrete. We're not allowed to take them out into any place where they're going to meet other dogs. We can take them to the grocery store. We can take them to a hospital, to a clinic. We can take them to puppy club meetings. And we get a jacket right away. So we can take them out in public, but they're not allowed to meet other dogs. Absolutely not, until they have their final shots. We start right away with leash training. We start with head collar training, jacket training. Right away when you get home, you take them out and start talking about doing their business. We reward them with kibble. We don't use clickers at all. We just start by holding them and try to get them used to a place where they sleep. Kennel training, crate training, that's our responsibility. Gosh, you start day one. Neeson, I'll tell you about Neeson. Neeson was house trained the day he came to us. He never needed to be taught house manners. I don't know why, but he did not care about anything on the floor, no socks, no laundry, no nothing. At 10 weeks, I took a picture of him for our club leader and I said, he's free in the house. And she said, what? And I said, he's free in the house. All I have to remember is to get him out once in a while because, he was a baby and he couldn't always hold his potty. But that boy never had a problem with house manners, ever. So he's very unusual in that sense. Most dogs, you have to watch them, put them on a long lead, and let them expand their house exposure. So that's one of our other responsibilities, is to make sure they are bulletproof in the house because you can't see them. So if they are sneaky with socks or picking food off of counters, he never did any of that, John. Never, 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 never. Okay, his one sneakiness that he had, I think we've already told you this, is he decided that he didn't want to lie on the floor. He wanted to sit in a chair.
Doesn't surprise me. He still does that.
I came home one day we were home one day and he ended up in one of our office chairs in the kitchen. We had a big one and he was up inside in it. And I said, oh, you can't sit there, Neeson. And he's like, oh, really? This is so comfortable. Well, that was his only transgression. He never got on the bed. He never did. I don't think he ever made a mistake.
He didn't counter surf.
No,
even
never.
though we had a counter that was rather low, but he didn't. He didn't take advantage of that.
No. So that's the extreme to the positive. So that's one thing we were responsible for. And they would test us at meetings. They would put treats on the floor and then our dogs had to walk around them. And if they didn't, and he was always the good dog. And then there were other dogs that we had a dog in one of our clubs that snatched up a whole turkey fillet and almost swallowed it, and his trainer reached down his throat and pulled it out. But yeah, they always tested us. We had to demonstrate loose leash walking and head collar walking. And in this last session with General, because of COVID, they couldn't go back for training. You know, they stopped the training program and the breeding program. So the dogs were being left out until they were 2.5. So we started doing physical therapy with them. So they all learned to back up onto a step and lots of things. So our General learned to back up our entire stairs upstairs, 11 steps. He could go backwards. So those are some of the things. And we take them everywhere we go. Doctor, church, department store, park. Well, I don't know what you can think of that we wouldn't take them to, because we know blind people do a lot of stuff. I used to tell people that said, why do you take them to church? I used to go to a crazy church. And I said, because blind people do this too. Rock concerts. Yeah, we go to rock concerts because we go to live plays. I went to a In the Round play in Sacramento with one of our dogs. And there was a dog in the play. It was the, what's the name of it? Toto, with Toto in it. Dorothy, Wizard of Oz. And except it wasn't called that. But there was a dog in it, and the dog was dog distracted. And they asked me if I would sit in a certain section with my dog so the dog on the stage wouldn't react.
Get distracted.
Yeah. Big old Andreas, and he was huge, but he did fine. Yeah. So I used to tell people, you got to take them everywhere because they got to experience everything. We took them on buses. We took them on trains. We went to the airport and went through security with them, and got on an airplane with them and got them down in the seat. But we couldn't really fly with them. Now people are flying with them more. But we tried to expose them to almost everything we could think of that would be part of anybody's life.
Just going back to the puppy raising application process, if you want to become a puppy raiser, I assume you contact the Guide Dog School, and they put you in touch with somebody from your community?
Yes, you go on the Guide Dog website, gb.com, and there's a place there for volunteer, and you just say, I'm interested in puppy raising, and then yes, they put you in touch with the club, and then they come out, they talk to you, and yep, that's how it goes.
Okay. What is the most embarrassing incident that has happened to you guys during your time raising puppies? There's got to be a couple of really bad, embarrassing stories.
It usually revolves around relieving.
Usually diarrhea.
Of course. Of course.
Celtic's a wonderful dog and doing very well as a breeder, but he had trouble with relieving, and not really at home. But I'd take him out someplace, and I would work so hard to get him to relieve before we went in. And whether he did or not, places like Winco and Costco just made him relieve. And so I was at the grocery, Winco, one time with him, and it was like a week before we were going to take him back for training. And I had him, he was behind me because I was getting some milk out of the milk case. And this fellow says to me, sir, your dog is pooping. He looked right there, and there he was. Oh, and this is a dog ready to go for training.
You've never had this experience, have you, John?
I've had barfing in public. It's not necessarily something that the dog can control.
No. Oh boy, he was
God,
something else.
Well, and we went down to guide dogs one time for a graduation.
Oh my
We're sitting there with Celtic in his jacket.
God.
He's beside me, and the person behind me taps on my shoulder and says, "Your dog is peeing." There he is peeing on the carpet, indoors, in jacket, at
Yes.
guide dogs. Everybody around knows what an idiot I am. Oh well.
Yeah, and he had walked him outside to get him to pee before we went into graduation. No, the guy had, I don't know, he's fine now. I mean, the woman he lives with in Berkeley adores him, and she talks about him all the time. I don't know if it was a psychological thing, but we used to go to Costco and I'd walk behind him, and as soon as he peed, we wipe it up really fast. One thing that you have to do at guide dogs, and you will get kicked out if you don't do this, is carry a cleanup kit everywhere, everywhere. And we had the spray bottle and the paper towel. And if we were out as a club, we would all gather around if a puppy had an accident. So no one ever knew.
Oh, right.
Yourself, and you're walking along, and you know how dogs are, they just drop it and go. I mean, they don't always give you that signal. I think for me, the worst was when my dog would have diarrhea at work. I was a manager, and I had to, but everybody loved the dog. It was always,
Of course.
oh, poor Lahaina was ours now, and she had a lot of problems with diarrhea, and she'd have them at work, and I'd have to, oh my gosh, and yeah, that was bad. But it's you just have to deal with it, and that's the other thing about being a puppy raiser. It's like being a mommy. When your kid does something in public, you just have to deal with it. But our advantage is that we can see, and we think about the fact that if we didn't have vision, it would be twice as bad. So we just suck it up and take care of it and move on. But I think for Tony, it was worse because he's a guy, and he's just doing his duty, taking his dog out.
I can picture you guys in the grocery store, Tony getting milk and like Celtic having a poop right behind in the grocery store.
Excuse me, sir. Yeah,
sir? I'm like, dread. I'm like, oh no.
Yeah. And it was always, I'd ask him when he get home, how'd he do? Well, he did it again. Yeah. And they used him as a breeder. I mean, and a few of his puppies have had some problems. So we raised one of his. No, yes, we did. Oh, that was Nino.
Yeah.
He didn't make it. But a couple of his puppies have been breeders. I mean, he's had very successful. Who's that? Oh, it's Louis.
This is Louis. He has made a guest appearance. Louis is our Mastiff Great Pyrenees Saint Bernard. He likes to be on camera.
He's so beautiful. Yeah.
Not a guide dog. He will never be a guide dog. Hey, Lou, you're just too crazy for that.
No, he's a comfort dog.
Yes.
Therapy dog.
He's a leaner. Okay, a couple more questions here. What is the hardest part of puppy raising?
Oh, saying goodbye.
Yep.
I mean, that's really tough.
Yeah, taking them back, that time when you go back for recall, you don't know if you're ever going to, well, we pretty much know we'll see them again if we are considering them as a pet if they don't make it. But there's kind of a long way between, and it's months. And when we took Neeson back, we hoped, we had a lot of hope, but you never know. And, we were on vacation in Maine when we got the call about Neeson. And even then you don't know because it can fall through. You could have not liked him. There could have been a problem. You never know until you walk into that place where we met you with him. And then we knew that he made it. And then we knew we wouldn't see him again. But luckily for us, we get to see him on video and follow his life. But when you turn them into guide dogs, yeah, they're your kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you kind of mentioned this a while ago, but I thought I'd bring it up again. Are you guys done puppy raising, or are you thinking about maybe doing some more
No,
now
we're
that you've moved?
Yeah, we moved to Florida, so we're done with guide dogs. They don't have a guide dog. They do have a guide dog group here. Southeastern guides are here, and actually, they trade puppies with guide dogs in California. We raised one in our club from this place here, but we have connected with another group called Freedom Service Dogs out of Colorado. And they actually have a club here in the Villages. So we're kind of having a bit of a problem connecting because of me having to have surgery and not being able to really be mobile. I'm mobile now, but we've been screened, halfway screened, and we're agreeing to be puppy sitters. We really can't raise puppies anymore because of our physical. We're too old. That's basically it. We're in our mid heading towards 80, and it would be, General would definitely love to raise a puppy, but what we're hoping to do is help people by puppy sitting, which is a lot of fun. It's like having grandkids, but you can send them home.
Yeah. So my brother is blind and he is a cane user. I tried to get him to maybe consider getting a dog. So he has that approach where he likes dogs, but he doesn't want the quote unquote responsibility that goes with looking after a dog. So he likes to he'll doggy sit Neeson or one of our guys if we go out somewhere and we can't bring them, but he's happy to send them home when we get back. So yeah.
Well, we love dogs, and our challenge here is that we have these dogs and we've had so many medical issues that we've had to leave them alone a lot, but they're getting really good at being alone here, and General has begun to sort of take care of Lahaina and be good with her as the older brother. He's the younger brother, but he's only 2.5, but he's definitely attached to her. So things are going well there. And we have a couple of people in the Villages who are willing to come over and check on them when we're away. But I think puppy sitting is great. But as far as getting a guide dog, you are an amazing spokesperson for this, because you not only see value in it for yourself, but you take care of your dogs. Like, I'm not sure how many people do that as a kind of holistic care of the dog. You don't just use the dog, but I hear you in your videos. One day I watched you when you said, Niece is kind of tired today because he had a big play date, but I need him to do this for me, and then we'll go home and rest. And I thought, okay, that is a very conscientious owner. Not only does he use him for this little errand, but he had a play date and he knows he's tired. And that's why they do well for you long term. And that's what I wish people would get out of your videos, is not only what the dog does, but how the dog needs to be cared for. So,
well, that's the thing. Like, people often ask me how long the guide dogs work, and their longevity depends on there's a lot of factors that go into that answer. How much they work, how much they don't work, how much exercise they get, how much they eat, like what quality of diet they have. So there's so much that goes into answering that question. So yeah, I do try to give my guys a good balance of play and work and good lifestyle and lots of affection and all that, because that all, like, obviously genetics play a role, but if you look after your animal properly, odds are in your favor that they're gonna A, work a long time, and B, have a good retirement after that.
Right. Well, one of the other things guide dogs holds us responsible for as raisers is to get the dogs out and walk. They're supposed to walk a mile by the time they're 12 weeks. Is that right? What she said?
I don't recall that. We always exceeded it.
Yeah. And so they're expected to get to be, and Neeson was doing 7 miles or something. I don't know. He was doing high mileage by the time he went back, because Tony used to walk 7 miles almost every day. And so when they go back, they want them fit. And a lot of them go back and they're not fit. And that means they have to wait to put them in a training string and get them trained, you know. So I know he didn't want to run, and that's too bad, but it's
that's okay. Yeah. So my second guy was an avid runner. Neeson is more of a, but that's totally fine. That he has many other amazing qualities. So that's the other thing is I really appreciate that each dog has their own like unique little personality. Like they're all everyone is different. So just one of the interesting factors about getting a new dog is learning that personality, because odds are it's going to be quite different than your previous dog.
Yeah.
So that's
every puppy we raised was different.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Last question. What advice would you give to anybody who is interested in pursuing e-racing?
Wait, you faded out at the end of that question.
Oh. What advice would you give somebody who is interested in maybe becoming a puppy raiser, applying to be a puppy raiser?
Well, first I'd say go ahead and do it. We should have done it much earlier.
Yeah.
We waited until we were almost too old to do it. What other advice? I don't know. Anybody who likes puppies or anybody who likes dogs ought to do it.
Right. It's easier when you do it as a couple. We had some single people in our group, and it can be difficult when you're alone and you've never had a dog or never raised puppies. We had never raised Labradors, and those were way different. We had a dog before that, but we soon adjusted and realized that they are really nice to raise. And I think we have to give a lot of credit to the puppy clubs we were in. We were in 2 different clubs, and the second club we were in, we were retired and we were able to attend meetings, more meetings, and we got lots of support from our puppy club. And there's some great puppy clubs, and they're there for you. I mean, you have a problem with your puppy, they'll take the puppy and keep it for a while and see what's going on. Or with Neeson, for instance, we had one-on-one training for him for a couple of times with the leadership. And they would work out kinks, and then they tell you how to work on them for the next few weeks. And when they get ready to go back, they give you some one-on-one kind of, just remedial sort of things. And so they get your dog ready for recall. They don't leave you out to hang you out to dry with the puppy. If you're having difficulties, your leader and your other members are there for you. And then you trade dogs. Lots of times you trade dogs, so you get to know other dogs, and it sharpens your skills. So it's a very supportive group, and the company's supportive. And now they're fully open again, so people can go to the campus, go to graduations. We also tell people, go to graduations. We went to how many graduations? Probably what? Before
we started?
We had to go to a couple before we started.
Yeah, I think we went to 2.
Yeah, we had to go to 2. Our club required it, but then we went to every single graduation of a club member, and to support them. And then we loved it so much. We tried to go as many as we could. And that gives you the end of the story. You're this puppy, and then you go and watch it graduate, anybody graduate. And oh my gosh, it's like, okay, this is what I'm doing.
Accomplishment, yeah.
Yes. And we had, of course, 3 graduations of our own that were, 4 actually, that were exciting. But just to see the end of the story, and then of course club members that graduated, that you kind of felt that too. So I tell people, if you want to know why you're doing this, go to a graduation, because you'll get it. You'll get it right away. So that's it.
Wow. Wow. That's like, you know, like I get goosebumps thinking of that, like because it's, you know, like you get the beginning of the story, if you will, and then you get the end as well. You know, like you see all the hard work that you guys put in, paying off. Those are the only questions I have. Is there anything else that you want to add? Any pearls of wisdom, if you will?
Well, you go first.
I don't really have anything.
You don't have any pearls?
No, no, I don't have any pearls. I would say, in case anybody from our first puppy club sees this, I want it to be understood that that was a perfect club for us when we got into it. We could not have been in our second club at that time, because they met every week, and they met at a time that I couldn't even get there. I was at work.
Yeah.
Martha probably usually couldn't have gotten there.
No.
They would have kicked us out.
Yeah.
So our first puppy club was perfect for us. But then after I retired and we were able to get to the meetings in the other club, then that was a better choice for us. They do work the dogs quite a bit more in the second club.
And we got a lot of value. Yeah, I guess for me, it also helped us as a couple. We really had never done anything together before. We were very independent. I was working, he was working. Our kids are grown, and we had a couple of dogs, and they were pretty much trained. And this was something we had to do together. We had to agree on what we were going to do. That was challenging. But once we agreed and got consensus from our puppy friends, it was fun to see the dogs grow. And they're fun. They're lots of fun. They make you laugh. They make you cry. We still enjoy our dogs a lot. They're challenging because they require you to take care of them, and they need good food and lots of care, and they have to be walked. But you know, they're deep in our souls, as are the puppies. Yeah. So
I just got a quick question. How long does the training take? So I'm assuming, Daniela, you are asking from when they go back for their formal training?
Oh, well, they go back at about, geez, that changed a lot. They go up back. Neeson went back when he was 18 months, 14.
No, I got Neeson when he was 18, 19 months.
Okay, so he went back when he was 14 months old, and he went through pretty quickly. But remember, you were on a wait. You needed him at a certain time, and that was all.
Yeah,
that was all.
Let me explain that process actually super quick. So,
but now it's not. It's changed since COVID. I think they're going back at about 2 years old, up to 2 years old now. So when they go back, though. Depending on how old they are and how far along they are, because things have changed, it's usually a 3 to 4 month training. But see, it all depends what they're like when they get there. If they are strong and fit, and they've had a few things in the program already, then they get into a string with a trainer, and they go through pretty quickly. They do have a backlog. They have a waiting list. I heard it's like over a year. So for people who need to get a new dog. They're working really hard, and they're still catching up from COVID. So, I can only tell you that the raisers get them at 8 weeks, and we work with them until they tell us they're ready to have them back. And during COVID, they told us that we would have them possibly until they were 2.5 years old, which is a long time.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, because you're giving them more shots and everything. And of course, they're always neutered by the raisers unless they're going to be breeders. So it's a long time, but you do what you have to do. They don't double up puppies or anything like that. So it's really hard to say. Nothing is concrete with guide dogs because they're dogs.
I wanted to mention this actually. So when I got my second guide dog, Lars, Guide Dogs was doing a pilot project where they were training dogs in a shorter period of time. So the dogs were receiving the exact same number of sessions. However, it was a condensed version. So instead of, say, having 2 sessions a week or 3 sessions a week, they were working 5 or 6 times a week. So Lars, my second guy, was trained in 8 weeks. I'm assuming they didn't stick with that, based on the fact that, as far as I know, they've gone back to the 3 months.
Well, I'm not sure, because when we watch the phase report, which is an 8-week program, the thing is it takes some dogs more time to get from 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 to 5 to 6 to 7 to 8. So it's an 8-week program, but they don't always make it to week 2 in a week.
The other thing I was going to mention about Neeson was he graduated. He was ready a month before I got to GDB. They held him back, knowing that I was coming.
Yes.
So that's how much they try to make sure that you as a client are matched with a suitable dog. So kudos to them because it's worked out super well for us. But they do try to do that.
Yeah, that's a good point. We didn't talk about that much, but they go to great lengths. And he actually was fostered by one of the guys that drives the puppy truck. And he almost kept him. He loved him.
Well, they really had us on pins and needles because we took him back. And first, they have to go through the physical part where they do the veterinarians have to examine them and all that. And those phases have letters, A, B, whatever. And Neeson went almost immediately. He went, there's a puppy. He went almost immediately to phase 1 and then 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. He got up to 8 very quickly and then stayed there.
Yeah.
And we didn't know why. He just stayed there. And other dogs would come up and become 8 and graduate. And Neeson was still staying there.
Yeah. We didn't know they were holding him for anybody.
Yeah. And so it was great to find out he was going to graduate.
Yeah. That's another thing that has changed in the guide dog culture is they're talking more to the puppy raisers. The trainers are communicating with the puppy raisers more about what's going on in training.
Good.
Yeah, because that was always a little bit nerve-wracking when you'd see your dog sit at a number forever and then disappear. And we had a friend in our other club who actually their dog came back to them for fostering until the client was ready, and they fostered her for a year. Wow. And then the client got the dog. That's how long they waited for this client to be ready. So they do go to great extremes. And Quigley, remember Quigley? Another puppy that we puppy sat that we loved. who was a brindle, one of our grand puppies. He was fostered. They didn't know what was going on with him, but he was waiting for the client from Southern California who couldn't get up there. Same thing as you, John. But the puppy raiser was just sure that something awful had happened to Quigley, and was just grieving over it. So it was very interesting that now they've decided to be a little more open. And just a word, your puppy's doing great and everything's going great and we're happy. That's all. That it's very helpful. So I'm glad to hear they're doing some things like that.
Well, I have a little treat for you guys.
Aww.
Oh,
There's our baby.
Here's your knee bear.
yes.
We just knows.
He's our buddy.
He's gone. Oh, he's right here. I don't know if you guys can see him.
Hi, Neeson.
Neeson.
Can you hear? He can't hear us. He's got earphones.
No, that's right.
He's still so pretty.
Oh,
He's got his snout is getting brown. Why is it getting brown? You're supposed to be getting gray. Yeah, he's so pretty.
Yeah.
I'm-
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm getting some photos together for you guys, and we're
Oh, great. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
go ahead.
I told Colleen that you guys have a lot of photos, and he's excited to see them.
Hundreds.
Yeah.
So we'll get them together. We have one video of him in the car that she'll find interesting.
Oh, is that with the classical music?
Yeah, you
I
did.
think I remember you
already?
sent me that one.
Oh my gosh.
A while ago, but you can send it again. I think I've misplaced it now. So
Yeah, it's where he was so afraid, and we played
That'd be
classical
fun.
music, and
yeah,
And
he
we
just
gave
like
him
calms
free-
down.
but he was such an adorable puppy. I'm just sorry. I'm sorry you can't see, but she'll see it. He was like a magazine photo. He could have been in show business. He was so adorable as a puppy. And
So Danielle is just asking if there is any specific requirement that a blind person has to meet to get a dog. So basically, Danielle, if you have a legalized eye condition,
mhm.
if you are legally visually impaired, you can apply to get a guide dog. You don't have to be totally blind. You can have partial vision. Guide dogs are also useful for people who have some vision. Maybe you've got okay vision during the day, but at night or when the sun is out, your vision is bad. As long as you're legally blind, you can apply to get a guide dog.
you have to be able to navigate with a cane too.
Yes.
Yeah. Mobility is important. That they give that at blind guide dogs for free, though. That course is free.
Yeah. So they, as a client, when you apply, they do typically come out and evaluate your mobility. So you need to be independent when it comes to travel, because they want to make sure that you can actually benefit from a dog, use the dog properly. These dogs, a lot of time, effort, money goes into making these guys what they are, and that cannot go to waste. So they do a thorough checkup on you as a client to make sure that you can
I forgot.
165,000.
live the guide dog lifestyle.
I don't think it's that much.
Yeah. They tell us at some point what the dollar amount is, but it is amazing because a lot of it's volunteer. But one of the things that Puppy Raiser is responsible for is food, toys. That's it. Food and toys.
Well,
Oh.
of course, all the stuff they destroy in your house and your car,
Oh
Yes, of course.
you don't get paid for that.
no, and and all the pee where they pee and poop.
Yeah.
But you love them anyway.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'd like to thank you guys so much for coming on. This has been great. You guys are amazing. I appreciate you guys. Neeson appreciates you guys. Everything that you guys have done for him is amazing. And it just Puppy Raisers in general, again, like without the support and the hours of dedication that you guys put in, we wouldn't be able to benefit from these amazing animals. So a huge thank you to you guys. Huge thank you.
Well, you're very welcome.
And we appreciate all your videos.
Yes.
No, I enjoy the process of making them, so I'll keep making them because it was a COVID hobby that's become a after COVID hobby now, I guess. So yeah, I'll keep making them and
Yeah. It's
uh,
wonderful to see him work. That makes us feel proud. You know, we take a little tiny bit of credit for his.
of course you should. You totally should. No, like you guys molded him into what he is. Like, so a
We
lot of credit to you guys.
tried. Yeah. He was a wonderful dog.
His ears still flop when he walks. I love it.
Yes,
Flop.
yes.
They bounce. Yeah.
They bounce. Yes, they do.
He's-
They
Yeah.
do.
He's a lot like General. General is a lot like him. His perceptiveness. He'll look at us sometimes, you know, trying to speak to us, and
Yeah.
he resembles Neeson a lot. Yeah,
Well,
he's a
thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much. Very much appreciate your time, and I imagine there are some people who will watch this who will learn a lot from what we've talked about. And
Yeah.
like again, a massive thank you.
If they can get with Guide Dogs for the Blind, it's a great organization.
Yes, it is.
It's run completely on donations and volunteer work.
Yep.
No or anything like that. So and the people in it are all very nice people. So we
Yeah.
enjoyed it.
Yeah, and if you love puppies, it's all about puppies. And now they're doing a lot of golden retrievers. Woo!
Yeah,
They're so cute.
They're crazy though.
They're crazy, yeah. We said anything but a golden retriever. And we actually have only raised three yellows and 6 blacks.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you should probably raise some more yellows.
No, I don't think so. Yeah. General's gonna outlive us, you know. So
No.
we're gonna be sending him up to you when we.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's only 2.5, and we're headed into the end of our time. So we love it so much, though, and it's been probably the highlight of our life.
Well, I think I speak on behalf of all guide dog users when I say thank you, because again, like, without puppy raisers, there wouldn't be guide dogs. So thank you so much.
We appreciate you too. So, and we'll keep in touch, of course.
We'll do. Yeah.
Yeah. So thanks for the interview, and hopefully we
Thank you,
didn't
guys.
talk your ear off.
No. Of course not. No, all good.
Okay.
Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you.
Okay.
72 degrees here.
72. So that's like 36. So that's like
Yeah.
19 degrees. So that's a pretty nice day.
It's warm. Yeah, it's really nice.
Yeah, nice day. Oh,
Happy
it's like
New Year.
0 here, and there's tons of snow on the ground.
No,
Yeah.
don't like it.
Happy New Year, guys.
Happy New Year.
Happy
Yeah.
New Year.
Okay, we're done.
How do we sign off?